A further point is towards individualized consumer products. And I show here some work from our group, and the idea is pretty simple. So we assume that in the near future, people will have available a 3D printer, either at their corner store, at home, or in their vicinity. So the idea is technology consists of a core computing component and the design, which you can download from the internet and just print out. You stick the both together and you get your consumer device. And yeah, this could be a lamp, this could be a radio, could be a television, etc. And here, the idea is really, we have a core component which is the same across a large number of devices. Again, this is the platform, this is what is sold in millions, and then probably one designer will sell 25 of his homemade radio stands fitting a local theme, etc., and people will print that out. So that designer will make sort of a small revenue, but the revenue, the large, will be in the platform. And this is not just sort of a vision. We have started to build this, and if you think what this core essentially is, it's a projector, it's a camera, it's a data connection, and if you look around at mobile phones, that's what you find at the moment. So obviously you need sort of a few other things, and what we did in our work is we looked at sort of there is no active component in the shell, basically you can print the whole shell in one piece, and what we did is we printed markers onto the back of the controls. So the whole shell is passive, and you recognize the markers with the camera from the projector inside. So this is something, again, which may come sort of software, hardware services. You basically buy the hardware, but you print out your device. Where is communication and entertainment going? Imagine you can collect the experience of 100 million people in real time. So imagine we have in Europe about 700 million people, about 100 million people, I would guess, care less about their privacy. So imagine they wear glasses with a camera, plus a microphone and a heart rate sensor, as we heard at the moment, and we stream this 100 million streams of video, audio, and physiological data into the internet. Okay, it doesn't work with current technology. We have probably a few problems with bandwidth, even with sort of a very positive Ubicomp approach. But what could we create? So imagine I'm wearing those glasses, and on my Facebook page, there is a live feed from what I see. We would create 100 million live feeds. Probably my feed would be not watched a lot. Probably we would have many more TV channels produced than TV channels viewed. But if the cost for creating them is really small, it wouldn't matter. And this is sort of just something this we could build today. And I think the real big question is, if we look at this, what are the enabling technologies to create this, and how would this change the world? So the idea that you need traffic information processed is completely void. You could just look at that stretch of road because somebody is sitting there watching. You could tune into people's vision. You could tune into people's feeling at various places of the world. And I think it would completely change the way telecommunication happens. The idea of telecommunications would be not there anymore because you could immediately create a space with somebody else. And the question is really, could, from a privacy perspective, we create such a system that we still want to live in that world? I think it's an open question, but I would guess something along these lines is going to happen. And that's sort of, so far, that was the part where I really think those things are going to happen. And now sort of, how do we identify new domains? And here I have sort of one very small thing. So, designed for creative users, and I think the camera on the phone is an interesting part where people designed for creative users. So you see on the left side from your, those are the pictures for what the phone camera probably was designed for, sort of capturing unique moments. But if you look in your phone camera, you probably will find a lot of those pictures remembering a parking space or and that's basically, the user is creative. So creating systems that leaves open some creativity for people to use them. And that's what I mean. So harvesting creativity is not just by letting them program something, but here I use sort of a device which is created in a creative way. And here, one point is, I think we have heard over the last 10 to 15 years, focus on user needs, and that's obviously something which is important, but I think it's not a whole story. Things like mobile phones, cars, etc. would not have happened by asking the user. I think it's allowing technology to drive innovation is an equally important part. And for this, we must understand what people really want. And you probably had this sort of in high school at some point, so Maslow's hierarchy of need. And probably, yeah, we obviously need this, and we heard this morning, not in the morning, earlier, that sort of the health is in there. But I think things like security, friendship, self-esteem, those are things we have seen, Facebook, communication devices, etc., really tie in there and create spots which are filling those needs in there. And I think if we think what are new devices we want to create, new services we create, we probably have to go back here and really look at basic human needs rather than looking at sort of the small increments. I'll jump over this. And now, what is the next big thing? And I think short term, as I said very clearly, sort of personal safety, meta services, platforms, sharing information spaces, that's what I had with the 100 million. And I think memory aids is another thing, which I didn't go in detail, is something that is going to happen. But what is in the long term? Those short term things are fairly clear from the technology perspective. And I call it magic beyond the screen. And there was a paper probably 20 years back from Alan Kay when computer graphics went big, and he said sort of computer graphics is creating an illusion, creating magic on the screen, and basically you are drawn in by that magic. And nowadays we can create that magic in the real world, and I think that's the power of Ubicomp, creating magic in the real world. And if you look at those things like the Marauder's map, we have this already on mobile phones. Picture frames that let us look somewhere or where people can move, that's again something we know. Newspaper that change their content, we have those things. So there's very little magic left. But there is one magical thing left, which I find extremely intriguing, and as we dedicate some parts to roadmaps, I think most people find it really, really exciting. It's looking into the future. I think if we can build a device that people can take, which allows them to look into the future, we probably have a sales device, or a device that sells probably better than the mobile phone.